some things to consider when comparing the 2024 Fiat Panda Pandina and the 2024 Toyota-Yaris-GR-Sport. Size and style: the Fiat Panda Pandina is a subcompact car, while the Toyota-Yaris-GR-Sport is a hatchback. The Panda Pandina is likely to be smaller and more maneuverable, while the Yaris-GR-Sport may offer more cargo space and a sportier look. Performance: the Yaris-GR-Sport is likely to be the more powerful car, as it is designed for performance driving. The Panda Pandina is likely to be more fuel efficient. Features: both cars are likely to come with a variety of features, such as air conditioning, a stereo system, and Bluetooth connectivity. However, the Yaris-GR-Sport may come with some additional performance-oriented features, such as larger wheels and a sport suspension. Price: the Fiat Panda Pandina is likely to be the less expensive car. Ultimately, the best car for you will depend on your individual needs and preferences. I recommend that you read reviews of both cars and test drive them both before making a decision. Boxy, bite-size, SUV-style cars seem to have a natural ability to generate a cult following. The latest Fiat Panda is a prime example. Its no-nonsense ethos has struck a chord with enthusiasts and value-minded buyers over many years, and it's a common sight in plenty of bustling European cities. On paper, it's a great value proposition here in the UK, and a car you might be considering along with the Dacia Sandero, Hyundai i10, Kia Picanto and Volkswagen Up. Or if you're looking at the off-road-inspired Panda Cross, then perhaps you might also be thinking about a Dacia Duster, MG ZS or Suzuki Ignis. Toyota has enhanced the Yaris Super Mini with more tech and a more powerful hybrid offered only with the top trim levels. The extra shove from the more potent hybrid powertrain helps the Toyota Yaris to feel genuinely nippy around town now, instead of merely smooth and efficient, and a little more comfortable with rapid cross-country travel. It somehow manages to be more economical, too. But it's only available on the top two trim levels, which means a hefty price premium, and almost all of the tech upgrades on the car are just as valid on mid-spec Excel with the original 114 brake horsepower setup. We'd still point our money in that direction. The Fiat Panda low pricing isn't the be-all and end-all, though. Cheap small cars can also be good to drive, and these days there's no need to forego the fancy infotainment systems and other mod cons that we've come to expect in posher and pricier cars. Plenty of brands are getting out of the small car market, but Toyota views its baby models as great ways of bringing new, generally younger customers into its dealerships. The Yaris is at the heart of this, with combined sales of more than 10 million vehicles since the MK1 was launched back in 1999. And now the current generation has been treated to a midlife nip and tuck. Speaking of which, the Panda has been around for yanks, although Fiat says it's a car in touch with modern times. The latest version is powered by a mild hybrid engine, with the aim of reducing emissions while also improving performance and fuel economy. The GR Sport facelift differs from the usual bumpers and headlights fare too, with heavily revised cabin tech instead of any major external changes, a new range-topping trim level and, in the case of the car we're driving here, the option of a more powerful petrol-electric hybrid powertrain. It's still based around a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder petrol motor producing 91 brake horsepower, but the electric motor contributes a lot more to the overall system output, boosting it from 114 brake horsepower to 129 brake horsepower. There's significantly more electric motor torque available from the system, to 185 Nm compared with 141 Nm. There's only one engine for the Panda, a mild hybrid petrol that also features in the closely related Fiat 500. And mild really does means mild, it gets little more than a faint whiff of electrical assistance. You can't plug this car in and it can't travel on battery power alone. A Toyota Yaris will let you potter without firing up its petrol engine. There's less electrical assistance even than in a mild hybrid Ford Fiesta. In fact, the Panda's 69 brake horsepower mild hybrid system is of the kind seen in the Suzuki Ignis. There's a naturally aspirated 1.0-liter 3-cylinder engine aided by a small lithium-ion battery and tiny electric motor that, in theory, boosts acceleration. The cabin upgrades bring across tech that will be familiar to anyone who's driven a Toyota Corolla recently. The old analog dials are swapped out from all but the entry-level icon trim, replaced by fully digital instrument panel measuring 7 inches or 12.3 inches, depending on trim level. Even the base model now gets a 9-inch infotainment system, while the top 3 grades feature the same 10.5-inch display as that found in the Corolla. Wireless Android and Apple connectivity is now standard throughout. Other enhancements include additional safety kit, including a warning that flashes up if you're about to open the door into the path of a passing cyclist or pedestrian. Panda, however, you wouldn't know it. You really have to work the gears hard to make any meaningful progress, and, even then, 0 to 62 miles per hour takes a tardy 13.8 seconds. That's quite a bit slower than any Dacia Sandero and only slightly quicker than an entry-level 1.0 Kia Picanto. Accelerate hard and the Panda's engine wheezes away, transmitting plenty of vibration through the pedals. Also, its 6-speed manual gearshift is clunky and vague, and not a patch on the shift in the Picanto and Volkswagen Up. As with most cars in this price bracket, there's lots of road and wind noise at 70 miles per hour. If you're looking for relative tranquility, the Hyundai i10 is better bet. The Toyota range starts with Icon, from 22,630 pounds, which brings 16-inch alloy wheels, aircon, electric windows all-round, auto wipers, and heated side mirrors. Design gets a different design of alloys, the 7-inch instrument panel, LED front and rear lights, and rear privacy glass. Excel steps up to 17-inch wheels and includes keyless entry and start, dual-zone aircon, the bigger digital instrument panel and the 10.5-inch infotainment system, part leather upholstery, auto-folding side mirrors and wireless smartphone charger. These 3 versions come with the original hybrid powertrain. The i10 also rides a lot more comfortably. It's not that the Panda thumps alarmingly over potholes, it takes most of the sting out of sharp edges pretty well, but it bounces and fidgets around over most surfaces. That makes it rather wearing to drive for any great distance. While its light steering is ideal for parking, it's also vague when you are looking for that sense of connection to help you guide the nose confidently through faster corners. Combine this with significant body lean, and the Panda isn't a car with driver appeal by the bucket load. If you enjoy zipping about in a car with rewarding handling, the surprisingly entertaining Picanto demands a test drive. To get the extra power of the hybrid, you'll have to spec at least a GR-Sport, which also moves to 18-inch wheels and gets ambient cabin lighting, sportier seats, and styling add-ons, and a couple of extra speakers on the audio system. Finally, there's the new Premier Edition, which adds kit without the sporty theme. It also features 2-tone paint as standard, along with a head-up display and fancier JBL speakers. Panda. If off-road handling is high on your list, then you'll be disappointed to know that the Panda is no longer offered with 4-wheel drive, despite the all-terrain looks of the Cross version. We'd suggest a 4-wheel drive version of the Dacia Duster if mud plugging is in your plans. We're trying a GR-Sport today, keen to see how much of a difference the additional power and torque really makes to the Yaris on the road. There's no doubt that around town, you can feel better response when nipping through traffic or pulling out of junctions, nor, it must be said, does the petrol engine seem to kick in any more often. If anything, in fact, this system does an even better job of surviving without combustion, and the CO2 figures support this, since they're lower on the 129 brake horsepower models than they are on the 114 brake horsepower versions. The first thing you'll notice from the Fiat Panda's driving seat is the ancient-looking dials and trip computer display. Now, having analog dials is no shame in this class, but the design and typography of the Pandas makes it hard to gauge exactly what speed you're doing, and the small digital display in the middle is about as up-to-date as CFAX and a FAF to work. A height-adjustable driver's seat is standard, but the steering wheel adjusts only up and down and not in and out, so finding a comfortable driving position isn't always easy, especially if you're tall. The seat isn't that supportive, either, and the footwell is cramped, with very little room for your left leg behind the clutch pedal. Budget cars need not be like this, as the far better driving positions in the Hyundai i10 and Kia Picanto prove. The Yaris, on paper at least, the performance gains are modest, with just half a second trimmed off the regular car's 0 to 62 miles per hour time. Yet the gains are perhaps even more noticeable out of town, where you can now squirt the Yaris along at a decent lick without the CVT gearbox sending the engine's revs into orbit. That extra electrical assistance brings a range of benefits, then. The TNGA platform beneath the Yaris continues to be sophisticated by class standards, although if anything, it probably delivers better body control than it needs to. Yes, it can be fun to lean on the capable chassis in corners, but we'd trade a little of that composure for a teeny bit more compliance, particularly over sharper urban bumps and potholes, which tend to be transmitted through to the cabin, particularly the rear. The GR Sport's 18-inch wheels probably don't help much here either, it must be said.